win this game, but my players do. And when you look at this Tennessee Titans football team, they have guys that can make a difference on both sides of the ball. They're very talented. I think they're a dangerous team for the Denver Broncos.
This game is being broadcast in Spanish where available using the SAP button on your television. Denver won the toss and deferred. So Matt Prater will be kicking it away to Leon Washington, just signed a couple of weeks ago. Made his debut as a Titan last week and made some plays, especially in the punt return game. Prater at home this year, 45 kickoffs, only 4 have been returned. And this will be the 5th as Washington takes it midway deep and is across the 20 and spins out to about the 27. A 33-yard run back, and out comes now Ryan Fitzpatrick in this Tennessee offense that last week had issues with maintaining the football. 4-turnover week and the loss at the Colts. But in that game, Fitzpatrick threw career touchdown pass number 100. Levitre, his left guard, coming with him from Buffalo, signing in the offseason. Kendall Wright on pace for about a 95-catch year. On first down, little play action and rolled out, and the pass is caught by Shianko, who was just signed on Wednesday, and they go to him to the first play of the game. As you see Jack Del Rio, the defensive coordinator, who goes back to that role primarily after doing a great job in the interim head coach capacity through 4 games. His defense up front will start today. Sylvester Williams, their first rounder out of North Carolina. Woodyard, who had a pick in the end zone last week, and the return of Rogers Cromartie, who's been battling a shoulder injury, as Chris Johnson gets that handle and picks up a couple. 3rd and 5 coming up for Tennessee.
Yeah, you look at this game from the Tennessee Titans standpoint on the offensive side, what they would like to do today. They like up-tempo offense. That's a good theory, except when you're playing the Denver Broncos. They like to slow it down, and they'd like to shorten the possessions of the football in this game if possible.
Now, we mentioned Shianko was the target on first down. Michael Preston comes up from the practice squad. He's in on this play on 3rd and 5. And the pass is caught by Hunter for a first down. The rookie out of Tennessee got in front of Webster, and the Titans will move the chains after a gain of 10.
Well, Justin Hunter, bottom of your screen. This was a steal in the 2nd round. They drafted him from the University of Tennessee. Just keeps getting better and better every week. And Ryan Fitzpatrick said, look, I will be looking his way a little more tomorrow because of the improvement the last few weeks.
Last week, the Titans in that game had 24 first downs, the most they've had in a game in 4 years. They've got a first down here. Fitzpatrick down the field, and he hits his man in stride. It's Hunter inside the 5 and pushed out of bounds. Justin Hunter, who picked up the first down on the 3rd down play a moment ago, goes for 57 yards on that one, the longest of his rookie year.
A lot of faith these wide receivers had going into this game today. What a throw by Fitzpatrick, right on the money. They've been watching all the games the Broncos have been playing, Jim, and they're seeing wide receivers making plays down the field against these defensive backs. This is a talented group the Tennessee Titans have. Great job by Justin Hunter.
Sean Green is the tailback here, and Quinn Johnson the fullback on 1st and goal. And is Sean Green, the former Jet, trying to bounce off that? Yes, he does. He finds the end zone.
He stayed with it. Sean Green, the bigger running back. They bring him in down near the goal line, and rightly they should. He was a power running back with the Jets. They go to the left side. Chance Warmack, boy, Taylor Thompson gets knocked down, but it doesn't matter. That's enough to give him a chance to get in the end zone.
And Craig Stevens stayed on his block on Miller, and eventually Green found that little opening and found the end zone for his 2nd touchdown as a member of the Titans.
Now that'll give him a little more confidence, and we sensed it last night. The coaching staff, the players, very confident to come out here and play against this Denver Broncos team.
Baronis, extra point. What an opening drive by the Titans. They go 5 plays, 73 yards. The big one, 57 to that man on the bench now. Justin Hunter. And Green finds the end zone. 7-0 the visitors at the start. Well, if you thought Tennessee was going to be a little pushover here today,
well,
take note of that start.
Jim, as we said on the on-camera, you look at this Tennessee Titans football team, they got playmakers all over the field on offense. Tell you what, they got some playmakers on the defensive side too.
Trendon Hamade, usually the return man for the Broncos, inactive. They were waiting until warm-ups to make that decision, out with a shoulder. So this is Andre Caldwell taking the Barones kick across the 20. And Peyton Manning and the Broncos will begin from the 26. This is an offense that's #1 in the league in points, yards, touchdowns, first downs, third down conversions, red zone touchdown conversions, all because of Peyton Manning, apparently on his way to another MVP season. There's Manny Ramirez, his center. We'll see a lot of Jarrell Casey today. And Eric Decker coming off that 4-touchdown game at Kansas City. It's a Denver offense that has scored at least 27 points in its last 15 games, and it's an NFL record. They fake to Moreno and roll out and Thomas. Julius Thomas coming back after missing a couple of games. He had been out with a knee, and he makes a catch on first down for 12. This is a Tennessee defense that did not allow the Colts to find the end zone last week until the fourth quarter. I mentioned Casey. He's got 9 sacks on the line. Boku, one of the linebackers, and Griffin returns after being suspended a game for violating the NFL safety rules. First down carry it is on Moreno for 4. So Peyton Manning, he has his 13th year, Phil, with 10 wins or more. That's an NFL record. That came last week. He also went over 4,000 last week, and he keeps motoring along with staggering numbers.
Yeah, he does. And we talked about in the opening, it's been talked about all week. The weather today, it's under 30 degrees. We saw him at practice on Friday, very sharp in 5-degree weather.
Here he is on 2nd and 6, and he's got a completion to Decker to the Tennessee 40. He got in front of Alteron Verner for 17.
Single coverage on the outside. The Tennessee Titans will do this a lot. And of course, if you're Verner, you have to think that Eric Decker's going to go deep after what you saw last week. And right away, the attacking offense by the Broncos, different formations, making his Tennessee Titan defense think right away.
On first down, Peyton. And that was incomplete. And that was off the hands of Wes Welker. And I mentioned the staggering numbers and the records fall. I mentioned the 10-win seasons, the 4,000 yards. And by the way, broke his own team record, which was set last year at 37, now with 41 touchdown passes. And of course, that means that the 50, the record that belongs to Brady, is in jeopardy with 4 weeks to go. 2nd and 10 to the ground to Moreno. Galloping inside the 30 and down to the 21. Zane Beadles helped open it up, and then just some good hard running for 20 by Moreno.
You said it, Zane Beadles, number 68, pulls around the tight end, blocks down. Nice job. And Moreno, last week, every week, Jim, plays with passion. You talked about it. Tough running and great start for this Denver Broncos offense.
He's going to step aside for this play. Monte Ball, who went over 100 against the Chiefs, is now the running back, rookie from Wisconsin. Manning's pass up in the air, incomplete. He was going back to Decker.
Well, you know, the one thing we don't really talk about enough when you see this cold weather, we saw a football go flying through the hands of Wes Welker. That was a tough catch, but it does, no matter what you do to them, they're going to be harder, slicker. Sometimes it's tough for the receivers.
Yep, 2 drops already, 2nd and 10. That is Ball stretching it out for about 7. You make a good point, though, with a couple of passes that could have been caught. There's been all kinds of stats worked out this week, and we triple-checked it. Peyton and temperatures under 30 degrees, 1 and 5. And it's not like those are exactly poor opponents he's been playing. And then you have other factors when you have cold weather, like we've already seen with the drops.
Well, the drops, the fact that he played in the game where he started against Buffalo, and he came out late, 17th game or 17th
week 17,
season.
Played a series, and that was it. Johnson gets the record.
But I understand that what everybody says, he has struggled physically a couple times, so that's what gets hurt by a little bit.
On 3rd and 3, what a hit it was by Griffin, who makes the stop on Moreno. and holds them to a gain of 2.
Boy, this is what you want your safeties to do. And Michael Griffin comes out there and sizes him up and makes a perfect form tackle. Broncos going forward on 4th down.
Yes, they hurry to the line here on 4th and 1. What do you think?
Well, it's a good idea. I like it to move in the football. Always be alert for the run in this situation.
They're perfect on the season. 4th for 4, making 5 for 5 as Moreno chugs ahead for 4 yards and 1st and goal.
I got all the answers up here. You know, I'm pretty good. But this is John Fox. He knows when they do this, everybody, especially inside the 10 to the 20-yard line, everybody is playing pass. They worry about it. So the run game for the Broncos is even better once they get inside the 20.
Yeah, John Fox sits out 4 weeks, heart surgery, comes back and makes a gutsy call. And first down throw is to Thomas, Demarius Thomas. Tackled just inside the 2.
Yeah, Demarius Thomas happened to be back. You know, had a little knee injury, overcoming it. Not 100%. We talked to him on Friday and pretty excited to get in the game, see how his knee feels, and get back into action. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Julius Thomas. That was Demarius Thomas that caught it.
So Demarius Thomas takes it down close to the 1. And it's a 2nd and goal from here. Big shovel pass, and that is read by that Tennessee defense. Foku helped clog up the middle. This Tennessee defense, by the way, has only surrendered 8 touchdown passes the whole season. That's the fewest in the league.
Well, they got a good pass rush at times, no doubt about it. That play didn't work that time because nobody got up the field to create the running lane for the shovel pass forward.
Now 3rd and goal from the 1. Ball is in the backfield. He's going to throw for it. He runs and throws, and it's incomplete. And there is no flag. He was going for Welker. Sends the ball on the coverage.
Yeah, good coverage that time. As you watch it come out, they love this. They do not get the pick. Sensabaugh stays right with him, does turn for the football, did not interfere, and going forward, this is an easy decision where they are inside the 1-yard line.
4th and goal, and then rolling out, Peyton throws. Got an open man for the touchdown, Wes Welker. And the Broncos convert twice on 4th down on their first possession.
That's why Peyton Manning threw the football on 3rd down. They knew they were going to go for it on 4th. And they have many options. They love this one. It's just the same play that we just saw, except this time he goes in the flat. Wes Welker, this is one of their favorites. That could have been called. That could have been a pick. It definitely was a pick. Demarius Thomas ran into Sensabaugh and picked him off.
But it ends up being the 10th touchdown of the season for Welker. He becomes the 4th Bronco to have 10 touchdowns on the season. That's a new NFL record for one team. 6 completions by Manning to 6 different guys. The 6th man to catch one, Welker for the score. We saw the polar bear a moment ago and enjoying the balmy weather here today, and look at the Broncos enjoying spreading the wealth on the season. There it is, first team in NFL history, 4 players with 10 or more touchdowns. And before it's all done, they could have 5, as Decker, after his 4 last week, is at 7 on the season. As Prater, he's going to have another one run back by Washington. Leon Washington to midfield. Got blockers up ahead. He holds the record for kickoff returns. He shares it, and he almost got it all to himself. Leon Washington, 95 yards before Mike Adams brings him down at the 3.
There's quite a few good blocks as you watch down the field. One there, and you come down the field, knocking a guy down, and Leon Washington still has the life in those legs to make these big plays happen. He was so dangerous early in his career. Went to Seattle, New England, now here with Tennessee. Boy, Mike Munchak last night pretty excited the fact that they had him returning kicks for him, Jim, and I can see why.
Well, he was on the Patriots roster, was never healthy. They waived him a couple of weeks ago, and the Titans snatched him up. He shares with Josh Cribbs most kickoff returns for touchdowns at 8, and almost had it all to himself. First and goal. Handoff. Johnson He is just short, waiting for the signal. I thought he might be across.
I think he's in.
Yeah, there he is. Took him a while.
They're waiting to see that he has the football. It's always a delayed call, but what a push on the right side. Chance Warmack in the center. Brian Schwenke, 2 rookies. Oh, beautiful job. Warmack helps double team, gets on the linebacker. Chris Johnson follows him into the end zone. Hey, we keep talking about these skill guys. These 2 rookie offensive linemen, Brian Schwenke and Chance Warmack. He's way in the end zone, easy touchdown, but they're blocking in the run game. That's what has this Tennessee team, the excitement. So many young players have a chance to really make a mark in this league.
And his 50th career on the ground touchdown. All thanks to Leon Washington. A little one-play drive covering 3 yards. That's what you call it. Baronis adds the extra point. We have 2 touchdowns on the last 2 snaps in this game. Leon Washington, welcome to the Tennessee Titans, making a difference. Looking for some Christmas shopping ideas? Go to CBSSports.com. Free shipping right now this weekend. CBSSports.com/holiday. And there is no, again, Trendon Holiday back to receive the kick. That's behind the Titans bench. Free refills today. Chicken broth and hot chocolate.
Wow, I have never heard chicken broth. I can kind of hot chocolate for the players. I mean, I know for you.
I know you wouldn't even have it up in the booth, much less when you were playing.
Well, yeah.
You think it would slow you down a little bit?
Absolutely.
I don't see any marshmallows to the side there either, do you?
What's hot chocolate without marshmallows?
No, you can't do it.
Come on, let's go.
Can't do it. Hey, there's Omar Bolden now. He's going to take over deep responsibilities for Andre Caldwell. So this is their 3rd-team kick returner. Bolden down at the 20. And let's go back first to the Broncos touchdown.
Yeah, let's just go back to watch this. Here comes the block inside. They do it all the time. Here comes Wes Welker outside. But since the defender is 1 yard near the line of scrimmage, that's why you're allowed to go in and block them. Think about it this way. All it is a screen. As long as the defender is close to the line of scrimmage, you can block them. So look at that as a screen down to the goal line. A good job by Denver knowing the rules and taking advantage of it.
Play action and right back to Moreno. Ball's out, incomplete. As Bernard Pollard was right in on him for the hit.
Well, as good as they rub those footballs up, and Jim, these football teams nowadays, led by Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, by the way, they got this rule changed. You can see that there's a little shine to them. Why? Because it's cold and dry. Even with gloves, this thing could be slick today.
2nd and 10. By the way, you had an assist in that. Learning to rub up the footballs.
Well, tell them.
You're the one on board to go do that.
Yeah, quit asking me what to do. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, get it done.
Running play, big hole. Moreno, another huge gain. His 2nd carry for more than 20 yards. Running behind, that time Luis Vasquez for 25.
You know, it's not always checking the run plays. Oh, that double team blocking to the right side, that was awesome. And they are great double team blockers, this Denver offensive line. And you said it, Vasquez, Ramirez, they get it. Moreno reads it the right way.
So 2 carries of at least 20 for Moreno, and here's the pass to Decker for 7. Over to the Tennessee side of the field.
When you play this Denver offense, you're on the defensive side. Jerry Gray, defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans. Your front 4 or front 7 have to be great against the run. If they're not, you are not going to win the game. Because if you single the wide receivers, you have no chance because everybody that catches the ball for the Broncos is good.
This is ball. About a yard shy of a first. You saw Jerry Gray, the defensive coordinator. Plus, you got Greg Williams on that staff. And Greg was back with the New Orleans Saints when Peyton and the Colts met in the Super Bowl. So Greg's, you know, he's had some success.
Yeah, they played Peyton when in any other conference all those years when he was with the Colts. They know him well.
3rd and 1. Ball is stopped for no gain. So they're now 0 for 3 on third down, but they're 2 for 2 on fourth. Will they go for it again?
This is a much riskier proposition, no doubt, right here. Trying to look down there. It's Cameron Wembley that gets in the backfield and makes the hit. John Fox, in past years, this was not even a thing. That punting team would already be out there, but a little different with Peyton Manning as the quarterback.
Yeah, the right tackle, Orlando Franklin, shaken up on that last play. Of course, they already lost the left tackle early in the season, talking about Ryan Clady. And Franklin, the third-year man out of Miami, who's done a solid job at right tackle, is going to hobble to the sideline, and we'll also step aside. We're back in Denver, and the Broncos are going to punt here on 4th and 1. Maybe influenced by the fact that Orlando Franklin was shaken up on that last play, the right tackle. And it's Colquitt getting the fair catch at the 8-yard line by Washington. So here we are, 14-7 in the early going, and the Titans off to a pretty darn good start.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to that 4th down situation. I think if Denver would have gone for it, I go, what happened to John Fox? Because he's I think one of the most conservative coaches in the NFL, or smart ones. I don't want to say it's a bad thing, but he tried one early. That would have been a big risk. Good decision punting the football.
So now the Titans, after the fair catch by Washington, have the football at their own 9. And there's a flag down as the pass is complete to Shenko. Shenko, who made quite an impression with his ability to understand the playbook.
Holding offense, number 70. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
As Shenko came in Wednesday, and Ryan Fitzpatrick couldn't say enough about how Shenko, an 11-year veteran, walked in and knew what he was doing, a true pro. But the play comes back after Warmack's called for that.
Yeah, no, it's a big play, of course, and you have to, if you're the Denver Broncos now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you give him a chance, he will run with the football. Did a good job that time, getting outside the pocket and getting the completion.
1st and 14 as Johnson falls backward for 3. Well, the Titans, when you look at a mirror image, if you will, as you see Coach Mike Munchak, as to their opponents, the points scored on the year almost identical. Look at these numbers that match up. Completion percentage, fumbles.
It's really incredible, and it's one of the first things I look at every week when I do games, and I look at that and I go, my gosh, that's a 6-6 team if you've ever seen one.
But they're 5-7. They should be 6-6. 2nd and 11. And Fitzpatrick's pass is dropped. That was Hunter that time, who had his hands on it.
Webster that time on the coverage stays tight to him. Little grabbing, got that right hand in between.
Boy, that almost got tipped by Phillips at the line, but Webster seeing a lot of action as Rogers Cromartie, who's been nursing a shoulder but got the start today, is out at the moment. Third and 11 from the goal line. Fitzpatrick in trouble, and he's able to avoid the safety. He is sacked by Malik Jackson at the 1.
Boy, this Malik Jackson just gets better every time you look at him. And they did a good job staying in front of Fitzpatrick. He could not run. Every game, Jackson makes a couple big plays, has gotten much bigger in his career, stronger, and can play inside and outside. Very valuable to the defensive line.
So now Brett Kern, everybody jammed in there tight. He's at the back of the end zone, a former Bronco punter back in 08. Had pressure, but booms it to Wes Welker at the 46, his own 46. And Welker tripped up at the sideline. A flag is down near midfield.
One of the reasons why you punt the football, Jim. You punt it, you get them down inside the 10, let your defense do the job and start
Illegal
over.
block in the back. Number 45, during the run back. 10-yard penalty. First
As
down.
Scott Green calls it, Roger
Timeout.
Cromartie, who had been out on those defensive plays, was in on special teams and got called for that. 14-7 Titans, first quarter. It is 16 degrees. We expect the second half. It might be under 10 as you see Winston Justice now at right tackle in for the injured Franklin. And Moreno's got a yard. Tomorrow on CBS, Melissa McCarthy, Billy Gardell, all new Mike and Molly, the hit comedy on CBS 9/8 Central. And by the way, as you look at John Fox, there's been thinking here for the last hour that the Broncos' path to the #1 seed was going to be really opened up with a Cleveland upset over New England. That may not be happening. 2nd and 9 as Manning connects with Welker at the 40.
Now everybody says, you know, you got to mix it up. You got to play some zones. Watch number 83 go into the middle. This is what happens when you play zone defense against Peyton Manning in this offense. It's like 7-on-7 where there's no defensive lineman or anybody out there. He might not miss a pass against zone defense.
50-50. Right.
Fakes the short pass now, almost intercepted. I'll tell you, getting a good read on that was Pollard.
Pollard baited him. Watch Bernard Pollard. He acts like he's going to run out and cover the back. Instead, he stops and breaks back underneath the pass, and Peyton Manning, lucky that wasn't intercepted.
Went right through Pollard's hands. Pollard, who got a Super Bowl ring past February as a member of the Ravens. Another one of the free agents acquired in the offseason. They spent $100 million on free agents to Tennessee. 2nd and 10, Denver. Great protection. Manning's got a wide open target. Moreno somersaults to the 26 and a gain of 13.
Protection's great. They're thinking run. They love to run it on 2nd and 10 to get ready for the 3rd down, but taking no chances with the football. Again, a zone defense. Look one way, defense reacts, throw it to your running back and pick up big yards.
8 first downs already for the Broncos in the first quarter. On the sideline, the throw, beautifully on the mark, and it's caught for a touchdown. It is Eric Decker picking up right where he left off in Kansas City. 26 yards, beating out to run Burner for the touchdown.
Yep, what we saw all day Friday in the cold weather. And nice route by Eric Decker. Manning changes up this time. He threw it on a line, and the trajectory of the football, beautiful, gets past Burner before he can find it.
We talked to Burner last night. He said, having played a couple of times against Peyton, I've learned you've got to be all over the guy that you're covering.
And
you cannot have any separation at all.
That's right, you can't. And what did he say about Eric Decker? He has a great knack and a skill at the last second, getting that forearm on you and pushing just a little. He did that time. That created separation in the touchdown.
And they had familiarity, Decker and Burner, because they actually were in pre-draft workouts together, trained together in Arizona. So the touchdown actually is under review. They're reviewing to see if he was touched down. If there's contact that happened short of the goal line. That might be the case. We'll be right back. Back with Scott Green's verdict.
After reviewing the play, the receiver, while he's catching the ball, his foot touched the knee of the defender. He is down at the 2-yard line.
We've been watching this during the break, and we also saw contact on Decker's fanny pack. I thought it might be the first time you see the knees collide right there, the foot. And there was also another little brush with Decker, but he's down at the 2. Right there, there's contact too.
He should be down where the football, so I guess it would be just on the 2-yard line. So that's a good mark by Scott Green. And what'd you say? What else did he hit that?
Fanny pack.
The fanny pack.
It could have been the first time a fanny pack. cost somebody a touchdown, but there was contact elsewhere.
Yes.
Nonetheless, first and goal for Denver. To the end zone and incomplete. Trying to find Demaryius Thomas.
Little change up there. They have so many routes they run down inside the 5 and 10 yard line, and you think, okay, I got Demaryius Thomas one-on-one. Everybody else is on the other side. You expect to fade, and there's the change up. He ran to the sideline, but Peyton Manning just threw it too hard.
And these Broncos thought, again, they may have a 2-game lead on New England, but the Patriots scored 2 touchdowns in the last 61 seconds to win against Cleveland. Second and goal for the Broncos. Movement by Justice, who's come in at right tackle.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5-yard penalty, second down.
You look at the Broncos on the precipice of officially closing out the AFC West with that big win last week against Kansas City, sweeping them and having the 1-game lead over the Patriots. The rest of the way for them, really, it's about holding on to that position as a 1 seed and having home field throughout.
Yeah, no question, holding on, but keep marching forward. In other words, keep being aggressive. They have been so far today.
Second and goal. At the goal line, the pass is ruled. Still waiting word, and from the far side they say touchdown. Back judge confirms it. Welker has his second touchdown.
Well, it's another changeup.
Some of the Titans were saying he didn't catch it.
Well, we're going to get a good look at it. You think he's going outside, but he stops and comes back in. It's pretty close, but it looks like to me, my first reaction is he has possession of the football, even though he's got it.
Previous play is under review.
Folks in Denver are a little restless. They're already tired of the reviews after one was taken off the books. I wonder about this one move all the way to the ground. Right, watch this, right there, the ball's out again.
And let's watch, the hand is up. You know what? There it is. Great shot from behind.
Yep.
The football is on the ground before he gets possession, I think, completely right there. The ground helped him catch the football.
And then from the other side, you saw not only that, but also a later little bobble.
But how about that look, though, Jim? So we've seen Wes Welker from that position go outside twice. So they fake going outside. Cody Sensabaugh is waiting on it. Then he breaks back in, and he's wide open. So it's really, what do you do when you're covering one-on-one against these receivers against the Denver Broncos down inside the 5-yard line?
So will it be touchdown or will it be third and goal?
Well, you pointed out right. I think that what we saw there, that the ground helped.
Will it be third and goal at the 7 or a touchdown? Here we go.
After reviewing the play, the receiver did not maintain possession of the pass. The pass is incomplete. Third down and goal.
Yeah, what made the throw not be on target too? Peyton Manning moving up in the pocket and kind of got off balance and forward. And when you get a little forward as a quarterback, when your upper body goes forward, watch when he moves up in the pocket and it throws off his time. And see how his upper body just goes forward a little bit. That's going to drive the football down and lower. And you see why they ruled it incomplete.
Well, it's the best third down offense in the league, although so far the Broncos haven't converted today. Third and goal. They've had what they thought were 2 touchdowns taken away, and now they'll try to earn it for the third time. Peyton from the 15 in heavy traffic just throws it away. And how about this for Tennessee? As pressure was being applied by Rapati Putuatoa.
Oh, there's the reason why. Peyton Manning very upset right away looking at Demaryius Thomas. He turns. I'm not sure what the route was supposed to be. And he immediately is up and walking to find out what went wrong. You know, look, I watched him in practice on Friday, Jim, and we were watching every little route. If it's just off, you can see the discussions, the talk. They keep talking about it to make sure they have all the communication down pat.
25-yard field goal attempt from Matt Prater. The kick is good. Only his 17th attempt of the season, and he's made 16 of 17. 14-10 though, Titans able to avoid giving up a touchdown. Peyton discussing things with Adam Gase, his first-year offensive coordinator. They thought they had Decker in the end zone, but that play was reviewed because it was ruled a touchdown on the field. Automatically, of course, has to be verified. And then Welker, they thought it scored. That got overturned again on the automatic review, and they have to settle for the 3.
I'm watching Adam Gase, though, the offensive coordinator on the bench. He's shaking his head too. So there's nothing worse, and we're not sure, of course. Coaches, the mental errors by players doing something wrong. It's drives them crazy, of course.
Yeah, Washington. Last run back went 95 yards. This time it'll result in a touchback. I've been talking about that Patriots comeback victory. You can't believe the Browns let this one get away. It was Cleveland 26-14 with just inside of 2 minutes to go after Cleveland scored a touchdown to apparently put the game away. Brady drove him down, got a touchdown. Edelman was a big target of Brady's, and then they recovered an onside kick. In fact, I'm just serving this one off of having this nugget in my hip pocket so many years. The Patriots as a team had not recovered an onside kick since 1994 when they recovered one against Cleveland.
Yes.
When Belichick was at Cleveland.
I was there for that game.
1st and 10, and that's Johnson stuffed at the line. So it's a huge win for New England to keep the pressure on Denver and stay in the 2 spot ahead of Cincinnati, because had that, of course, gone Cleveland's way, the Bengals would have, by virtue of a head-to-head win against the Patriots this year, would have moved up to the 2. But New England, Belichick and Brady find a way to do it again. Here, it's Tennessee after 1, 14-10. Yes, it's not Philadelphia, which was a blizzard today. And the Eagles defeating Detroit in that one. It's cold, no question. But snow-free on the field. And clear skies after flurries this morning. 2nd and 10. And second straight play, they run it with Chris Johnson. First play of the second quarter goes for a couple. Jim Nance and Phil Simms on the scene here with Lance Barrow, Mike Arnold, and all the crew.
All righty, Wesley Woodyard, you saw him in there on the tackle. They're trying to give him some breaks today and have Paris Lennon spelling because it's a long year. He's played a lot. He's not a really big linebacker. Trying to save him for this stretch run in the playoffs.
Fitzpatrick goes to the gun on 3rd and 7. And there was movement. Hold on a minute now. Robert Ayers was late to react to the whistle. I think there was movement. False start left side.
False start. Offense, number 71. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Thursday on CBS, Academy Award winner Robin Williams and Sarah Michelle Gellar in an all-new episode of The Crazy Ones. Thursday at 9/8 Central, only CBS. Third and 12. Fitzpatrick's pass out of bounds in the area of Nate Washington.
You got some good pass rushers, 3rd and 12. You got a big crowd noise. You got to make a decision and let it go. That's what Fitzpatrick does. Nobody open. That was basically a throwaway.
So a 3 and out for the Titans. Second straight one for them. Kern to punt it to Welker. No pressure on the punter. Into a slight breeze. Welker, 10-yard space before the first defender, and is swallowed up by McCarthy after an 8-yard run back. Following a 48-yard punt. Peyton Manning back onto the field, down 4. Back in Denver with the Titans defense back on the field, facing Peyton Manning and the Broncos, who start another drive outside their own 40. Franklin is back in at right tackle, setting up a screen here, and the Titans read it, hold it to 1. Again, it was McCarthy who made the tackle on the punt coverage, who brings down Moreno after 1.
Good start for Peyton Manning today. Real sharp with the football. This throw right on target. Of course, their famous rub plays on the outside, which they're tremendous at.
Second and 9. Stretch play. Moreno for 2.
You know, we saw that screen play the play before. When you play this Titans defense now, they're not afraid to take chances. So I look at it when you play against them, throwing the screens to the running back, take advantage of their pass rushers getting up the field and stay away from the outside screens to the receivers, because everybody's been attacking those plays against this Broncos offense the last few weeks.
0 for 4 on 3rd down, and it's 3rd and 7. First down, Welker. He had Jason McCourty on the coverage, and he got the inside position in the first.
Yeah, it's an automatic blitz from that defensive front. Good job that time by Moreno picking up the blitzer inside, and you always have to be alert. Wes Welker inside, you think he's going out, he comes across. That's one of the first things you do against an aggressive defense, cross the field with your wide receivers.
From the Tennessee side of the field, out of the backfield again, and right around the neck, that is Pollard, who swings Moreno down. You know, a week ago we were in Kansas City, and Mike Agard, our whole crew captured this shot of the emotions of No Sean. And of course, he had to field questions about it all week. He just said, I just am an emotional guy. I have my heart's filled with a lot of appreciation, but man, the reaction this week, it was a internet wonder as Manning throws for a short gain to Julius Thomas. Yeah, I heard stuff like waterworks, you know, the giant tear duct deluge, the town crier. There are all kinds of different terminologies used because no one's ever seen rivers flowing like that.
I know. Are those supposed to be funny? I mean, because I don't get it. You know, why are they trying to make fun of a situation like that when it was heartfelt? But you know what I mean? So the people, the things they say, I guess it's because it's football and you're not supposed to ever show that type of emotion.
It's nice, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
At 3rd and 3. As Manning gets a man open, it's ball, and he drops it at the 20. He was wide open.
Well, last week they did this formation. What did they do? They sent him underneath, and it almost won the game. Watch the fake and then the go. That is well done by Monte Ball, except the drop. But that's taking advantage of, Jim. That's what they do. Peyton Manning, Adam Gase, the offensive coordinator, they show you things, you prepare for it, and then they're going to give you the next dimension to it. That was a move go. Just didn't take advantage of it.
Ball, who's had issues this rookie season, fumbling, that time prevented the Broncos from having a first down at the 20. So now, Britton Colquitt hits the knuckleball down to the 10. Fair catch by Washington. Yes, it is. Well, now we're down to 15 degrees. Temperatures falling late afternoon at Denver with Tennessee on top 14-10. We're back, 1st and 10 run. And that is Sean Green up ahead for about 7. And you saw the skiers on those billboard shots. And the Rocky Mountain area, of course, getting a really good start to the season this week. 15 right now, feels like 7. And again, the temperature will be dropping.
I got off the plane Friday morning about 9 o'clock, I guess it was. How cold is it out? -5. Pretty cold up here today.
2nd and 3, and up ahead they go. Green has a first down, and Tennessee's had poor field position its last 3 drives, and now finally able to pick up a first down. It had been a while.
Yeah, you know, Sean Green, bring him in, a more physical runner, of course, than Chris Johnson, and that's what you need to do. Let this offensive line, it's big and physical, let them fire out, hit the guy, and let the running back make some tough yards.
It's Green for a 3rd straight play, and that's Paris Lennon who got hands on him right away for no gain.
Yeah, somebody forgot to pull, or there was a blown assignment. 2 unblocked Broncos right there in the running hole.
So far, Peyton Manning has thrown 23 passes, only 6. Actually 5 attempts and 1 sack, so 6. They had 6 pass plays. 1 was a sack. Mike Otto on the line right now, eligible as a receiver for the Titans. 2nd and 10. And here Fitzpatrick's going to throw. And that was a ball that should have been caught by Kendall Wright, and there's a flag down back in the area of the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 58. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It was Miller who was coming from his blind side, trying to get there in time. He got there late.
Oh, man, big
to
time.
the helmet.
Late, launched himself, crowned the helmet. That is going to be, hey, look, we don't determine this. That's going to be a fine without question.
Well, it's going to be a little lighter, huh?
Beautiful throw by, oh boy, I'll tell you, Ryan
How about this throw with all of that? Look at this.
It's right on target. Got the hands. He let the football get by him, Jim. He should have had his hands turned the other way, catch it in front, much easier.
So the penalty is stepped off out to the 40. And that's Chris Johnson for 1. Mike Munchak went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton back in 01, the great lineman that he was with the old Houston Oilers. And you know, you think about coaches who have been a Hall of Famer in their playing careers, guys like Ditka, Art Shell, Bart Starr. There aren't that many of them, really. Mike Munchak.
No, he's a frustrated coach, of course, because he knows they got a lot of good young players, guys that can make a difference. It hasn't fallen in place, and really losing his quarterback is a big reason for that.
2nd and 9, and across the middle, incomplete. Heading back to Hunter.
But I think also, Jim, just talking about Mike Munchak, you look at this game and how you coach. You got to know who you're up against. Look, he courted Peyton Manning during the offseason.
Came close.
He knows what they have to do. Shorten the game, and also as a head coach, you got to be aggressive in your decision making, because you know it's going to take a lot of points to win this game today.
Well, he told us last night, other than the people in our room here at this hotel, no one believes we can win tomorrow. But we do. That's what he said. They face a 3rd and 9 with 8 minutes to go, first half. Pass caught, but short of the first. It's Washington. And Rogers Cromartie.
Here's a decision right here. 4th down.
Yeah, the spot actually with the forward progress has it 1 yard away.
He's thinking about it. That punt team is not rushed out on the field.
The thing is, when you make these decisions against Peyton Manning, you know if you go ahead and punt it, he might have it right back to the 49 had you missed anyway in about 2 plays.
Not second guessing, though. Right here, 1 yard against a lot of good athletes on the other side. I would punt it and make Peyton go the whole way.
They're going to go with Chris Johnson at running back. We got a timeout first.
Oh, he had it too. Could have ran outside.
Called by the Broncos. So 4th and 1. Maybe it'll be reconsidered. We'll find out after the break. Watch the wild scramble on the Denver defense, and Von Miller on the right side signaling a timeout. They got it. It was officially on Denver. The timeout, that is. 4th and 1, and they've got Johnson at running back, not Sean Green. They play action fake, dump it to Johnson for the first, and let the speedster go to the 30, and out of bounds at the 29.
Well, that's the aggressive call. What a call by Mike Munchak. You got to make these decisions before the game. He told us, I thought it was risky, but with Chris Johnson in there, Jim, during the commercial, that tells you they're going to run outside or throw it. Good job.
That's the play, basically, that worked last week on 4th and goal at the 1 for a touchdown.
That's right.
Fitzpatrick, it was more like a shot put than it was a pass, but it was his 100th career touchdown pass. And he had Chris Johnson sign the football. Sean Green back at running back. And Green's got a lane to the 20, to the 10, chuck into the end zone, and he is in for the touchdown. He got a huge block by Quinn Johnson, the fullback.
Up inside, he's a power runner, little counter. Nice blocking. Craig Stevens, the tight end. Quinn Johnson, oh my gosh, does he do a great job knocking the defender to the ground.
Quinn Johnson was on this team last year, got cut, and then got re-signed on Wednesday. And he pancakes one defender as Green takes it in for his second touchdown today. This goes from 28 yards. So the 4th down gamble pays off, and Munchak, gutsy call, and he is rewarded. His Titans lead at 21-10.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. And by the new Intel-powered 2-in-1s. Intel. Look inside.
That's an 89-yard touchdown drive engineered by the Titans. In 8 plays, they had a couple of 20-yard plays on the touchdown drive, including the actual score itself from 28 out, Sean Green. 1 touchdown on the year before today, 2 already in this first half. And Moronis will send it to Caldwell, who's back in as the deep returner. Line drive kick, caught at the goal line, and tripped up at the 18. And you see the Titans' urgency in signaling the sideline to get back over, get someone out to help Nate Irving, but Nate Irving does move here. Caldwell ran into his own man here, right in the back of the helmet, back of the neck. Look at the right knee. Ooh.
Yeah, for both of them. Caldwell also.
You know, while he is helped to the sideline, I want to go back to that timeout called on 4th and 1 on the Titans touchdown drive. It's charged to the Broncos. You see in the foreground Miller calling, and look off in the distance running down at the same time. Munchak was also wanting a timeout. So he has saved the timeout, ends up picking up the first, and later gets the touchdown.
Well, what that tells me is that they were probably going to run the football. Mike Munchak was like, you know, let's throw it, or that indecision on their play call because the defense not ready, never got lined up.
Broncos down 11, just inside 7 minutes first half. Manning across the middle. The underneath throw to Demaryius Thomas gains 4. Tonight on 60 Minutes, a Navy SEAL story of bravery and survival, plus the people who knew Nelson Mandela best. On 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. 2nd and 6. The give to Moreno. And we'll set up a 3rd and a long 2. It's brought down by Griffin and George Wilson.
Yeah, George Wilson, a safety brought in here. He plays linebacker, covers tight ends in passing situations. And Mike Munchak said, hey, George Wilson, good leader, been a great addition to the football team this year.
3rd and 3. Moreno comes back to flank his quarterback. The crossing route for 5 and a new set of downs.
That was interesting. They were trying to run the pick to get Noshawn Moreno down the sideline for a big play. And Peyton Manning, good job finding Wes Welker. Good job getting off the receiver and making the tackle also.
Welker with 4 catches, 1 touchdown. That's Julius Thomas to the 39, gain of 8. You were talking about Thomas earlier and coming back from a gimpy knee. He'd missed the New England game and he'd missed the Kansas City game.
And he just gives this offense another weapon, hard to match up, can go deep. Ex-basketball player, very talented.
2nd and 2. And that's ball. Takes several Titans to bring him down at the 48 of Tennessee. And a run of 13.
You know, Monte Ball, a little different runner than Noshawn Moreno. And just, Jim, you can see when he's on the field that he's noticeably bigger. So when you can throw the football and do what you want a power runner in there sometimes, and he really fits the bill for him.
It's Michael Griffin on the far side. It's shaken up. And Decker's coming over and trying to, I would suspect, make a play that Griffin wasn't really hurt.
Yeah, and it's, you know, listen, that's always a dangerous thing to even insinuate. People think that anybody gets hurt against the Broncos' hurry-up offense that they're faking. Decker's still talking to the sideline over there.
So now they bring in Damian Stafford for Griffin. 1st and 10. Taking to the line, down the field, complete. 1st down, again it's Decker. And he's barking out something to that Tennessee sideline as he picks up 11 with that one.
Yeah, good job, good fake. Decker in that position. A lot of times he'll go down the middle of the field. He breaks out. Werner's close, but Peyton Manning right on target.
And a whistle first. False start against the Broncos.
False start, offense, number 87. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And Griffin's still getting some attention on the bench. 2 plays ago, that was Griffin who launched into the pile trying to bring down Ball.
Just like we said, Jim, you see Griffin still on the sideline getting checked out.
1st and 15. And a screen to Ball. Knocked down for a 1-yard loss. And again, it's Bernard Pollard.
Boy, Bernard Pollard, that's why you get him. Really a terrific tackler, an enforcer near the line of scrimmage. That's what the Baltimore Ravens called him, the enforcer. A couple times a day, he's made some great reads and made plays.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 16. Wide open, Welker pulls it in, reached out and grabbed it. He was able to beat Stafford, who was in there for Griffin in the secondary, and gains 29.
Typical play by Peyton Manning so many times over the years. When he sees it, it's pass protection. He's going to fake it. The linebacker can't get back. And look at the throw again. Right on target. Great pace to the football and touch. He's able to do that because he's a terrific body thrower. Uses his legs and everything to make the throws down the field. That's why they turn over, and that's why they're so active.
On 1st down, Manning to the end zone, and it's incomplete. And that is, by my count, the 5th ball today that was dropped. And to talk about Peyton Manning, in cold weather, does he throw the ball with the same amount of zip? He's 20 of 30, and he's had 5 drops.
Oh, that is right to the stomach. I don't know if Pollard, does he nick it?
Yes, he does.
I think he might have.
He does.
Just that little, because Bernard Pollard, why I thought he might have hit the football, pretty excited once the play was over.
1 second north of the 2-minute warning. And a 2nd and 10 coming up for the Broncos. Down 11.
Yeah, Manning's loose, the body's loose. You can tell his arm is rested, throwing the football with power.
Flags coming in from the end zone as the pass to Decker goes for no gain.
That play's been tough on him the last few weeks. Good reaction by the defensive backs.
Holding, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cody Sensabaugh called for holding. Right there, he brought Welker down to the ground with him.
Good
So,
call.
be an automatic first down for the Broncos. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cowher. The 1 o'clock Eastern Time game recaps. The updates on the late action. Coming up from our studio in New York, the Verizon halftime report. Coming out of that 2-minute warning and coming out of a holding call against Tennessee, sets up 1st and goal for the Broncos. To the end zone, Julius Thomas. Did he get him down? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Denver.
What do you do on the defensive side? So many tough matchups as you look across the board. Catch 1, 2. Boy, looks like he got that right foot down just in time.
Yes, he did.
Another beautiful throw by Peyton Manning. And again, he turns it over on these passes down the field. The ball goes up, and look at the nose of the football, comes down quick. That's how he can drop the football in there and be so accurate.
A flag just, for some reason, I'm told, came down.
The previous play is under review. Also, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 31. That penalty will be enforced after review of the play.
Well, this is for Bernard Pollard. It's going to be enforced on the kickoff. Well, when does he have full control? Just be careful here because this ball does juggle a little bit. The feet, masterful job. But watch the football.
He's got control of it, still got control of it.
This angle right here. Watch again.
Yep.
What point does he have?
Yeah, he's got it the whole time, Jim.
Okay.
I know it doesn't look great.
No question about the feet.
Yep. Now, is he going to the ground? As he catch the football? As he's making this catch? You could say that, and the answer I would say is yes. Does he keep it through the process?
There's the divot, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good skid mark.
See, the ball at one time does adjust. That's a very, I think, of all the replays, that's the important one. If there's going to be any debate at all, is that one coming toward the camera. You see the ball shift a little bit.
Yeah, it shifts, but I'm going to say he still had control of it.
The fans are restless already.
Yeah, it's 10 degrees.
Well, they've already had 2 touchdowns taken away by replay. I think it's going to hold up as a score.
Yes.
This is the one where the ball right there, he readjusts. That's the only thing that they could be questioning. Scott Green has
After
the answer.
reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
By the way, we were talking about the guys back in the studio coming up. I hate to tell Shannon Sharpe because, you know, he's had a Hall of Fame career and he's in Canton, but his single season touchdown mark for a tight end in Denver franchise history has just been eclipsed. It's number 11 for Thomas. Shannon had 2 seasons of 10 touchdowns, 96 and 98. It's 11 for Julius. Prater adds the extra point. And watch, the Pollard penalty could be significant because Denver deferred. So it's not a smart penalty here. It happens unsportsmanlike after the play. Now they're going to kick off. with a short field. And Denver, who knows, could still possibly get the ball back before the half and then get the third quarter kick.
Very true. You know, I want to go back, though, Jim. Julius Thomas, how about that? Played basketball for 4 years at Portland State. That 5th year goes out, thought he was going to be a wide receiver, runs on the field the first day, sees the wide receivers going towards him, and the tight end coach goes, Julius,
Yeah.
over here. So, oh, yeah, we decided to put you at tight end. But what a transformation and what he's done to the NFL. A little unlucky with injuries, but coming through big time for the Broncos so far this year.
Well, he only had 1 catch his first 2 seasons because he, again, as you said, was battling an ankle injury. But now with the 4 grabs today, he's at 49 catches this season and 11 touchdowns.
And you know what I learned about talking to him? Guys out there, listen to your fathers, right? His father said, you know, hey, this is basketball, it's good stuff, but give it up and play football. No, Dad, I think I can make it basketball. Well, Dad was right.
Prater, let's go ahead and take the touchback. In the Verizon halftime report, the guys are getting ready to go through all the highlights and the storylines from a wild day of action. All those East Coast games, battling weather today. How about Miami's win over Pittsburgh? Baltimore and Minnesota. My goodness, there were 4 touchdowns in the last several minutes of that game. And Flacco threw the game winner with 4 seconds left, and he said after the game, it was a crazier finish than the Mile High Miracle.
Pretty strong statement.
Yes, it is. Wasn't quite as much on the line, but it's a huge win for them in the playoff chase. It's Wright. Kendall Wright finally getting on the board. He's been the top target on the year. That's just his first catch, and it goes for 3 yards.
Yeah, they need a first down big time, this Tennessee offense, because like you said, you already created or talked about the scenario. They keep Peyton Manning off the field for 1 more drive before halftime, and then when they come out for the second half. That was a good drive starter. Didn't get as much out of that screen to Kendall Wright as you would hope.
3 timeouts for the Titans. 2nd and 7. They're going screen. Nothing there as Fitzpatrick is dropped after the throw by Phillips, as well as Jackson has already gotten to him once.
What, you know, Jim, I was just going to say the one thing, this Denver Broncos defense, they give up plays. You can get big pat, but look at this defense here. They just have a lot of different looks. Jack Del Rio, very aggressive, and they get Malik Jackson, another rusher, come free. Fitzpatrick cannot even complete the screen.
They drop back to the gun. That Denver defense has a couple of timeouts. Short throw in traffic. And watch Denver call a quick timeout here as they stop him behind the line.
Yeah, that play, that almost has no chance against a defense like that. They're standing up. The offensive linemen, especially when you have young guys, they don't even know who to block. And the one thing about this Bronco defense, there's a lot of bad stats out there, but they have speed and they do make plays. And it matches the Broncos offense because they're both aggressive.
Welker back to the 30, and there's going to be plenty of time here. Denver with 1 timeout. They, of course, did spend 1 after the tackle on 3rd down, so they've got 1 timeout. They're going to have about a minute left. And Kern set to punt it for the 3rd time today. And it's his best yet. Welker has to go all the way back to the 15. And a flag, a whole bunch of them are out. 62-yard punt. And the return's going to be compromised by penalty.
Illegal block in the back, 53 during the run back, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Steven Johnson whistled for that. Hey, next Saturday, all the pageantry. One of the great games there is in all of sport. The passion, the pride, it all comes with Army-Navy. Coverage starts at 2:30 Eastern Time next Saturday after number 1 to be Arizona takes on Michigan in college basketball in Ann Arbor. Army-Navy next Saturday. CBS.
Lion!
Penalty brings the football to the 15. And another flag out. And 5 more going against the Broncos.
Ball start. Offense number 74. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Well, Manny Ramirez, the center, was trying to make a late call. In other words, trying to help the offensive line out to make sure Peyton Manning doesn't get hit. Watch the center. Going to use his left hand. Peyton really didn't give the offensive line enough time to adjust.
Third false start against Denver. Manning to the sideline and caught right on target with Decker.
Well, Derek Morgan, I've been waiting to see because he's had a pretty good pass rush the last few weeks, but lots of time, a lot of space, and just a little shove to the ground.
Go!
2nd and 3 with 49 seconds. And open and incomplete. Diving attempt by Welker that time.
Beautiful throw. Again, he just lets it go. And that's what I saw at practice. This is what we saw last week. It's about 35 degrees colder now than it was. And this football, perfect spiral. You know, he even said, hey, I throw a lot of wobblers, Peyton Manning, but they go for touchdowns. And he's been spinning it the last few weeks. Well, that is perfect.
That was a good throw. By the way, Griffin is back in at safety for the Titans after being shaken up. 3rd down throw. Batted down, and the flag is out. It's going to be called on Verner, who had coverage on Decker, but too tight a coverage.
That's right.
Interference. Defense number 20. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
This kid Verner out of UCLA, what a bright young man he is. Tops in the NFL this year in takeaways. That's 5 picks, 2 fumble recoveries, and a math major extraordinaire for the Bruins of UCLA.
Terrific. Love playing against Peyton Manning. I thought so when I saw it, and the replay verified it. Tough call against Verner.
Peyton with 39 seconds. Almost intercepted by, I just mentioned, Verner leads the league in takeaways. He almost got his 8th of the year.
Every time there's contact, everybody that's watching TV in the stadium, they just, well, it's got to be pass interference. Let's watch it. Eric Decker, very physical receiver. Contacts down the field.
That was outside of 5 yards.
Yeah, it was. Little contact outside of 5 yards. Could be a makeup. That's a good no call in my book.
You said, how do you apply a math degree with football? And he says, problem solving. That's what it's all about. 2nd and 10. Incomplete, dropped again.
Well, he's got a big problem on the other side. His name is Peyton Manning. That was a hard shot on Wes Welker that time.
And Welker is going to need some attention from the sideline. He was hit by George Wilson, the former Buffalo Bill. One thing, you don't want to get in an argument on the football field with your helmet off. That is not a very bright move. And he better be careful. He's already been flagged once here for unsportsmanlike conduct, Pollard.
Well, you know, that helmet is not supposed to come off.
Might have been Pollard, not Wilson. Let's see here on the hit with Welker. It was Wilson, 21.
It's not an illegal hit.
No, it wasn't, was it?
No, it was not. Just caught him and bent his head forward. You know, Wes Welker, all those years in New England, all those short passes over the middle, Jim, we've seen him take so many hits, and of course he has to. When you catch these passes over the middle.
Inside a minute, when there is an injury, it is a charge timeout.
Charge timeout.
Final timeout.
To the Broncos because of the injury. here in the final 2 minutes. So they're out of timeouts, 31 seconds to go. And Welker's head just got caught. It was completely clean play by Wilson. Manning with 35 attempts in this half. That's the second most first half attempts he's ever had in his career. Got all kinds of time. Ryerson at the 45. It's caught by Demaryius Thomas, who tried to lateral it for a moment, thought about it. He had Moreno in the area.
Clock's running.
He picked up the first down. Clock down to 10. And the spike at 7.
Look at Peyton Manning, the time, left, worked his way all the way across the field and found Demaryius Thomas. And the fact, right, that, and then when he gets up, the exchange between Demaryius Thomas and the official hurt the offense, cost him about 6 or 7 seconds because they couldn't get the football spotted.
Again, Denver out of timeouts. They've got the altitude and they got the big leg of Prater. They could get about, who knows, 10 yards? Could have a shot here if they could get out of bounds. And there is the catch made by Tammy.
How about that play, though? They had a play set up just for that. Tennessee protecting the sidelines. They block the guy that's protecting the sideline and pick up 7 or 8 yards. Really well done by the Denver Broncos offense.
We're going to see an attempt here at an all-time record field goal in NFL history. We believe it'll be from 64 yards for Prater. 63 the record. Of course, Tom Dempsey, Jason Elam, a former Bronco, and now for the all-time mark from 64. Matt Prater's kick is good! History is made!
That'll get you fired up going into the locker room. I saw him make them from 60 yards during warm-ups, but those are not official NFL game footballs, which are harder to kick. And he flushed it.
There had been 4 made in history from 63. I mentioned Dempsey, the epic kick against the Lions long ago, some 40-plus years back. Elam here for Denver had done it. Janikowski of the Raiders had made one from 63 here. And David Akers, in fact, had one that measured 63. But this today is 64. Never before has anyone driven one through in the National Football League from that distance. Until now. Joe Scarpetti was on the hold as Dempsey kicked the game winner at the old Tulane Stadium. That's when the record was set. It was matched 3 times, and it held up all these years until just a moment ago. Matt Prater from downtown Denver. It's 21-20. Tennessee at halftime, and you're watching the NFL on CBS. And Matt Prater got this play stirred with his field goal. Sights and sounds here in Denver. Peyton Manning did as well with a couple of touchdown passes in the first half. Football like you've never heard it, presented to you by Sonos. And it'll be Baronis and the Titans kicking to Omar Bolden to start the second half. Ten late points by the Broncos, plus the first possession of the third quarter coming up. Oh, Bolden unable to grasp it for a while. Somehow manages to take it out to the 20. Tennessee leads it. I know it's kind of, you forget that after the field goal right at halftime by Prater, but how about this second half? What are we going to see here?
Well, I know Tennessee's got to open it up on the offensive side, come up with some plays, be very aggressive, because Peyton Manning, look, the numbers lie. He's been much sharper than the numbers say, throwing the football on target with power in this cold weather. So, and you said it, 10 points, the nightmare against this. Let him have at the end of the first half, the start of the second.
Throwing here on first down to Decker. And he's now 25 out of 39 for the game for 230. He had 219 in the first half. Sean Green had a couple of touchdowns. Peyton with a touchdown toss to Welker, one to Julius Thomas. The Titans in that first half had a 95-yard kick return to the 3 by Leon Washington. All kinds of big plays. And of course, the all-time field goal by Prater, as Moreno has 4.
Well, I can't imagine what it's like to play defense against this offense. A good offensive line, 4 or 5 really big-time weapons to throw the football to. You're trying to diagnose all the plays that he could run against you, and now he's thrown the football close to 40 times.
No Welker out here to start the second half, as Moreno on 2nd and 7 gets within a couple of a first down. That's a gain of 5.
I think the thing I took out of the first half, the big plays by the Titans, and the accuracy of Peyton Manning throwing the football.
Wait, I thought he couldn't throw the football in cold weather.
Well,
that's all I've read all week long.
Yeah, well,
everybody just had it as an absolute foregone conclusion.
You know, look, even the New England game, and when I watched it the second time, it changed my opinion. I said, wow, when he had to throw it in the wind and cold, he got it done.
3rd and 2. And a little short toss, all it needed to Demaryius Thomas to pick up a first down. And we receive word now that Welker did, in fact, suffer a concussion. That's the second one this season for Welker, and he will not be returning today. And, of course, they have the short turnaround. They play Thursday night here against San Diego, so I think it would be very unlikely he'd be back for that game.
Yeah, that's you know, you talk about this offense, the slot receiver is a big deal. And that slot receivers, Wes Welker now becomes Jacob Tamme. Of course, Peyton Manning knows him well, has great rapport with him.
They were in Indianapolis together.
That's right.
You saw the graphic. They've run 30 more plays than the Titans so far. 1st and 10. Down the field, wide open. Decker, incomplete. But a flag back at about the 40. And then a second flag as Pollard came headhunting again.
The fact that Decker had to go inside instead of outside, that brought Pollard into the play.
Well, there's 2 separate flags here. There's one at about the 40 where Decker was trying to get away from Burner, and then there's the one on the contact by Pollard. There's one flag there.
Oh, Pollard, I don't know why they called it. That is just a shoulder bump.
Yeah, he led with the shoulder here.
And the first flag, it could be against Eric Decker.
There are 2 fouls on the play against the defense. Holding, number 20, that penalty is declined. Personal foul, number 31, 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, that's a tough call, and I understand why they throw it. They're always going to err on the side of being cautious. And it's because he hits him with the shoulder, and I guess when you see that, Jim, you can't tell the helmets. But that's a good, safe hit.
Was he defenseless?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. He hit him with the shoulder,
Yep.
and it wasn't to the neck or head area. So Bernard Pollard right away. And also, you know, Eric Decker, really good and sly. You know, he's got a nice little move, that little push-off, and I thought he was very aggressive in the second move, trying to go down the field against Werner.
Andre Caldwell comes in for Decker. Ball at the Titans 42. And again, way down the field, open man, caught at the 10. Demaryius Thomas, who has been all season long a second half of the game sensation.
Beautiful accuracy down the field, and I've said it, it's just the body movement of Peyton Manning. Quarterbacks watch it. Here's what you do. You don't stand back there like you're all stiff. You see the movement with the hands, the body, so it keeps him in rhythm, and that's why he can let the body go and drop those balls in down the field right on target. That's about 8 of them in the last 2 games, Jim. We've seen them all.
That goes for 38. Thomas, huge numbers all year in the second half. First and goal. And Manning fires it. Touchdown, Denver, and it's Demaryius Thomas. You may have seen that little glance and shake of the head looking back at Manning at the line of scrimmage. Those two had something up their sleeve, and it's a touchdown and Denver's first lead of the game.
I think it's kind of what he wanted when he got mad at Demaryius Thomas. In the flat, could have had it here. He's open, but when you're not open on the initial move, run the back end zone line. That is a tough spot to cover for defenses. And how about that shot by Manning again? He drove it in there. You know, I'm not going I told you so. I'm going by what I've been seeing in this arm. He rested himself on on Wednesdays, and you could see the freshness in his arm the last couple weeks.
That's 17 points in less than 5 minutes of clock action going back to the end of the first half. Demaryius Thomas, his 38-yarder, set it up, and then he finished it off for the lead. Demaryius Thomas had 3 catches in the first half. He had 3 on that drive. Only Pierre Garçon has caught more passes this year in the 3rd and 4th quarters, but Demaryius has more yardage in the second half, more touchdowns. He leads the league in yards after the catch, and he just comes alive after halftime.
Just think if Demaryius Thomas, now look, he's been terrific the last 2 years. If he had 10 or 12 years with Peyton Manning, he could break all the records for receivers because he has honed his skills and he has immense physical talent.
No question. Peyton Manning has developed him, helped him develop into one of the real stud receivers as Leon Washington stays on his feet to get almost to the 30. Looked like he'd be down at about the 20. Manning now at 276 and 3 touchdowns and with the lead. Well, they've got as many plays through the Titans as the Broncos have first downs. And that's only 1 for Chris Johnson. That last touchdown pass, number 44 on the season. Look at the line seal this for him.
Yeah, they got the seal, but watch Peyton Manning just let it go. Rears back, and look at that leg, goes all the way around. That tells you he got his body into the throw. Good shot here, keeps moving, keeps it loose, drives the football, and his arm is fresh. We talked about it. He told us that, Jim, because Wednesday he takes the day off. Well, Peyton Manning taking the day off. He doesn't throw to save that arm. Helps him on Sunday. 2nd
and 9, and Fitzpatrick guns it. Got his man. It's Kendall Wright for a gain of 13. Now, you say he takes the day off. He likes to soak in a tub his ankle, so he's wearing a helmet. Yeah. And you might be wondering, okay, he's got the iPad out because he's looking at plays. Yep. But in the helmet, he's still getting the communication out on the practice field.
He hears the practice field. He hears Adam Gase talking to the quarterbacks. He knows the plays, listen to what's happened, and then also is watching games, preparing for today's game.
Fitzpatrick hit when he threw it, and he's picked off. Picked off by Knighton. Terrence Knighton has an interception. Von Miller caused it with the contact with the quarterback on the release, and all things are going wrong for the Munchak side.
Yeah, they are. You get in obvious passing situations. Von Miller, big, strong, fast. He's got it all. And sooner or later, he's going to get to the quarterback.
Hey, Terrence Knighton told us last week, I was a receiver in high school at Windsor High School back in Connecticut.
That's right.
He showed those hands off right here.
Von Miller gets there, knocks the ball up in the air. You're right, Terrence Knighton. You see that big body.
Yeah, look at
this. Nice job of reacting. He says not only is he a receiver,
he was all-state receiver.
All-state
receiver. And he averaged 18 points a game in basketball too. And I can still dunk. He let us know.
I believe it.
1st and 10, running play up ahead. Moreno, no, it's ball. His ball for 12, maybe 13.
Yeah, it's a tough situation now for the Titans. The offense, they're rolling double teams again. The center, Ramirez, along with Beatles, they are great at double team blocking inside and just pushing the defensive lineman back.
Decker is still out as they stay on the ground. It's Ball for another 15. He broke away from Michael Griffin.
Yeah, you're getting just torched by the pass game, and now you overreact, go down the line of scrimmage. Nice cutback by Monte Ball. Seen it many times this year. The Broncos throw it in the first half, and they come out and reestablish the run game early in the second.
Ball cuts. He's got 5. The AFC playoff picture with the Broncos in the driver's seat, first position, trying to stay the game ahead of New England, which had a miraculous comeback today, to stay 1 back and 1 ahead of Cincinnati, which would have overtaken them for the 2 had the Patriots fallen. Indy is the 4. You almost are guaranteed now Kansas City's going to be the 5. They're second and 5. And Moreno has a ball for the front of Franklin, and he's pushed out at the 1 by Pollard. Big Orlando Franklin, injured early in this game, comes back out, and he was leading the way.
Going to pull out here. That's all it is. It's a sweep, a screen to the right, whatever you want to say, scat pass. We see all the time. I see that play with the New Orleans Saints. I wonder if that's where they got it on one of those films. Drew Brees, Sean Payton, they're the best at it. Broncos pretty good too.
Everybody in tight. They've got Dreesen in, Virgil Green in. And that's Unrein coming in. Handoff, the ball stacked up, no gain. Yeah, Mitch Unrein, 96, the defensive lineman. We've seen that a few times this year, coming in on goal line situations. And we haven't talked a whole lot about Jarrell Casey, who's had such a big year on that defensive front for the Titans.
Well, they were worried about it, but look, there's so many things to look at from the defensive lineman perspective. Trying to stop the run, Peyton Manning gets rid of it quick, you get double teamed, hard to get there.
Now they spread it out and go gun, second and goal. Peyton Manning passing, and it's incomplete.
Well, he went to his pet play. We've seen it a couple times today. And that time, Tennessee Titans defense, they took care of that little rub play to the outside.
Now they shuttle in Demaryius Thomas and no Sean Moreno on third and goal at the 1. Still no Decker since being in the rib area by Pollard. Welker out with a concussion.
Loves to sprint out on this formation.
Peyton throws, and a flag is out. It's going to be called on Werner again. Pass was thrown toward Jacob Tamme.
Holding, defense, number 20. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
And that's the 3rd penalty in this game on Alteron Werner.
Right in the middle. You know, they got it covered. They're all over the play. But easy for me to say up here, you just you panic because you go, oh my gosh, here comes the throw. It's coming my way again. And you know, even when the coverage is good, it's not good enough.
Moreno, the running back, first and goal. Up top, pass, incomplete. They went right back to the man Werner was defending, Andre Caldwell.
What John Fox is thinking on the sideline. How do you second guess it? Because they're so good at scoring touchdowns and all these passes so close. He's probably going, hey, let's run a couple.
Second and goal. There's the run. Moreno drives across, and it's a touchdown.
the formation. Zane Beadles doesn't really get the block, but not enough penetration to make the tackle.
Vasquez and Franklin have done a good job.
They have. This offensive line is a tremendous combination. Awesome pass blockers and pretty good run blockers. When they had Tim Tebow here, they were great run blockers. That's all they did.
That is 24 unanswered in 9 minutes and 16 seconds. All set up this time by the interception by Knighton, with Moreno scoring his 12th touchdown of the year. By the way, Noshawn Moreno won the Ed Block Courage Award, named this week. Each team in the league does that. Eric Studesville also co-won the award, which is a tremendous honor. As Prater sends that one into the first row. Jim Sacamano has been a part of this Bronco organization for 36 years, and today they named the press box after him. And there he was. You saw him with his wife Joanne, his daughter Jennifer, his son Jeffrey, and their families, including his grandchildren. Just one of the finest gentlemen this NFL has ever known. Such an ambassador for the Broncos. We love him and we salute him. As Chris Johnson has a 17-yard run, but congratulations to Sacamano. They put the plaque up. You saw it in the press box. And he's been a part of almost 900 games here in Denver and representing this organization with just such class.
You said it right. He represents the organization the way you wanted your organization to be represented. I got a chance to see his whole family up there today before the game, and what a great moment for him, and well deserved.
Was by far the previous play the longest run of the day for Chris Johnson. Went for 18. This one only 1. With the playoff races heating up, you can download NFL Mobile. Get the live video access to exclusive premium content on your smartphone. Call Star NFL to download or go to NFL.com/mobile.
Well, Tennessee trying to run the football to slow the pace and the emotions of this game down.
2nd and 10. Fitzpatrick, no one in the area. Nate Washington making an appeal. He was asking for a flag.
Watch Nate Washington going down the field and Kendall Hunter. Boom, they run into each other. So they kept everybody in, 2-man route. The timing not there, nobody open.
Third and 10. Got his man. It's Washington. And that was a play that Tennessee had to have, because the momentum has been just a gigantic shift and wave for the last quarter.
Ball him his screen, number 85. He's running like a corner route, and they designed stop and look back in. The Broncos in the exact right coverage, but Webster not able to make the play.
Second catch today for Washington for 24 yards total. Chris Johnson wiggles and then goes straight ahead to the 41.
You know, we've been talking so much about the Broncos, and rightly so. They've been on fire. But 34-21, drive down and score here, and hope your defense can find a way to make a stop when they get back out there.
I bet you think Terrence Knighton enjoyed getting his hands on the football.
Oh, geez. He's just another guy. We hear it all the time for defensive linemen, very talented high school players, running backs, receivers, but they get so big, you got to put your hand on the ground. He's just one of those guys.
2nd and 6.
Ready? We go!
They seal the pocket so Fitzpatrick can launch it. He's got a man, and it's a touchdown! Tennessee with Justin Hunter hauling it in. 41 yards.
Fitzpatrick stood in there that time. That was awesome because there's a free runner. Watch at the last second. Somebody's going to come right up the middle. That was Williams. And he stood in there and he put the football down the middle and perfect. Justin Hunter, we talked about him early. Boy, is this guy going to be special as time goes along. Big, fast, good route runner being taught very well by Sean Jefferson, the wide receiver coach, and really good NFL receiver for the Titans.
Quentin Jammer was back deep. No one was there to help him. The former Charger signing in the offseason. That's 80 yards in less than 3 minutes, including a big third down conversion. Barona's good on the PAT, and this game is right there for the taking. 34-28 Denver, third quarter. Bundled up out here in Bronco land on a frigid day, although actually it's warmed up a couple of degrees after the chill of Friday.
Yeah, oh man, Friday was,
it's inching up every day.
Yeah, I got to admit, we were out there Friday, it was, we were crying.
It was rough.
Boomer didn't think you were out there during practice. I don't know why he would think that.
Because Boomer doesn't go to practice. Here's the run back by Caldwell. Oh, he breaks the tackle. Look at Caldwell take it now. And he's got no one in front of him. There is a flag back at the 30 as he slows to a jog. Little does he know it's likely coming back. It would have been 104 yards as Nate Washington signals from the sideline.
Illegal block in the back, 36 receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Called on Webster. There's the penalty right there.
Good call.
Tennessee and Denver dueling here in 13-degree weather. Broncos flagged for the third time today in a blocking in the back penalty on returns. And instead of a 104-yard run back by Caldwell, they'll start at the 20. Up 6. And a short gain to the tight end, Julius Thomas. Give him 3.
Here's Justin Hunter on a touchdown. Omar Bolden gets sidetracked and watches the tight end come down the middle and leaves deep middle, and Quentin Jammer not able to speed up and get it, so they gave up an easy touchdown. John Fox was pleading with the defensive backs, don't get beat deep.
2nd and 7, again faking to the line and freezes the defense long enough to produce an open Jacob Tamme. Gain of 15.
You said it, the fake freezes the linebackers, and then Peyton Manning throws back shoulder even across the field to protect Jacob Tamme so he doesn't get hit from a defender in front of him.
Eric Decker is back in a slot to the left, 1st and 10. And that's Moreno for 2. You know, Peyton Manning, you mentioned it earlier, courted so heavily by the Titans as well as the Broncos and other teams, but they came close. Tennessee came very close to landing Peyton, bringing him back to the state where, of course, he started the University of Tennessee.
Peyton talked about it, so did Mike Munchak. Mike Munchak said they watched film for 8 hours, and Peyton grilled him for the whole 8 hours. Kind of funny to listen to the story.
2nd and 8. Peyton to Decker, who had the wind knocked out of him, we're told. And he's got the catch in front of Werner for 15 more.
I ask you, Jim Nantz, bottom of your screen, another in cut. Cut the last second, that left arm on the body of Werner, but Peyton Manning is on target. How many times have you seen somebody even close to being open where he didn't throw the football right on the target?
He's over 300 yards. He has 3 touchdown passes. He's got a first down. And that's going to be for Ball just a gain of 2. They even had the governor of the state of Tennessee lobbied the state legislature to pass a resolution urging Peyton to return and finish his career in Tennessee. They pulled out all the stops.
Yeah, that's some pressure.
Went out and worked out at a little facility, a little school field, the Webb School in Knoxville, because the word had gotten out.
The Titans showed up. They drove a car down there. They got to the field. Cones were set up everywhere. Peyton had to work out organized and ready to go, and they liked what they saw.
Boy, what a shock that is. He would organize it, huh?
Yeah.
2nd and 8. That one slipped a little bit, but they got the pass there for the first down to Ball and 12 more.
That time the protection is so great, but watch what he does. He's going to work across the field. He's looking here, he looks down the middle, and then he goes all the way to the other sideline. Yeah, that takes talent by him, but that takes tremendous pass protection. What a job of this offensive line.
Every drive today has at one point been in Tennessee territory. All 9 of them. Moreno stopped for no gain. Yeah, the only teams that he would end up throwing for when he was, on the market was Denver, Tennessee, and San Francisco. Those were the only 3. But he got some validation after he worked out with Tennessee because the feedback he was receiving from them gave him some confidence that he could come all the way back.
That's right. Well, too, he exposed all this medical history to them. They looked at it. They were not scared off, so that made him, it was a burden off his shoulders, realizing, okay, I'm going to be all right.
2nd and 11 to Demarius Thomas. Shakes off the first hit, which produces a first down. He got away from McCourty. McCourty had to come back and tackle him later, and another 13.
Well, what do? The defensive line's not going to get here. They've gone deep. They go down the middle of the field, and then when they come underneath, really a tough assignment for the defensive backs.
Time running down here in the 3rd quarter. And that's going to do it. It's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter with Denver leading at 34-28. Back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Heading to the 4th, both teams have scored in every frame. Jim Nantz, Bill Sims here with John Fox in his return. His team going for some records when it comes to point production. You see most points single season all time. The average belongs to the Rams, the best scoring average, just a fraction off of that. But they've got a 16th straight game of at least 27 points. That's a record. Start the 4th from the 21 of Tennessee. And first down. Tammy will make it 1st and goal at the 9.
They just got so many plays, Jim. Watch, he's going to run the outside and make the defender go off, and they just throw it out here. Really simple, but it's the technique. Decker chases the corner off, actually really just blocks him, and they pick up a first down. I don't see any other team in the NFL try that simple play.
Handoff ball. Huge hole. Stopped at the 1.
I said it early in the game, they are an unbelievable run the football inside the red zone.
No huddle.
Single coverage on the outside.
Second and goal, and it's Ball. Got back to the line. Hit by George Wilson.
That was tremendous by George Wilson, wasn't it? You're a safety, but you got to come in and actually down here in this on goal line, you got to act like a linebacker, and he got it done.
3rd and goal. He's going to throw for it. And over the head of Decker. Now what do you do? 4th down? They're going to stay out there, it looks like. No?
Nope.
Eight runs to the sideline, and they're going to bring out the field goal team.
Yeah, John Fox, you look up there and see the numbers, 34-28. You kicked this field goal to get 9 points and
make it a 2-score game.
I'm sure it was a running play. It could have been, and they checked to the fade. Even as good as they are throwing these fades, McCourty that time gets right all over the route to the outside.
And if you're just tuning in, that's right. 2 of 2, good from 25 and 64. And this kick is good. 3 for 3 on the day. 19-yarder makes it a 9-point game. Denver leads it 37-28. Matt Prater goes from the longest field goal ever in the NFL to the shortest possible field goal that you can have, 19 yards.
Well, he deserves it after that long one. Like every once in a while when I play golf, I do like a 3 or 4 foot par putt instead of trying to putt from 30 feet all the time.
I thought you could say you like people to give you a gimme.
Well, I'll
pick
take
it up
those too.
Pick it up. Leon Washington had a 95-yard return to set up the Titans' second touchdown today. Little jump on this one. Oh, and he is walloped by Nate Irving, who was injured earlier in this game. They had checked him out for a possible concussion. He's back, and he makes the big hit. What a day this has been across the league. Early action, Cincinnati in the matchup of division leaders beats the Colts, staying first in their division. And how about the Ravens, who were 42 points scored in the fourth quarter of that game. They win it with 4 seconds to go. Kobe Jones had a kick return for a touchdown. Miracle comeback by the Patriots, but it looks like they've lost Gronkowski for the year with an ACL. The Browns found a way to lose that one. Up 12 with just 2 minutes to go. And there's a running play by Sean Green for 3. And one thing here, Denver clinches the division with a win here today. And if the Broncos win, it also gives the South to Indianapolis because of a loss by Tennessee. Actually, it would be a Denver playoff berth, not the division. I meant to say playoff berth for Denver, but the division would go for the Colts with the Tennessee loss, if that's our outcome here. 2nd and 7. On the run and over the head of Hunter. Fitzpatrick did a good job of getting that pass away. He had Robert Ayers all over him.
Yeah, it's a one-man route. They're going to block everybody up, and Fitzpatrick still doesn't have time to throw the football down the field. Ayers, good job on the outside getting it done. But Justin Hunter, nobody else, a little check down over the middle, trying to go across. He went deep. Now they sent him across, but that time Bolden was ready for it.
Of course, Fitzpatrick, no stranger to playing in cold weather. After a number of years in Buffalo, faces 3rd and 7. Catch. Oh, they'll see the mark from the far side. It's going to be about a half-yard short for Michael Preston, who has his first catch.
You might have this. You've got to look at this. How far is it? If it's under a yard, I think he's going to go for it. He catches it. It's inside a yard just by that right there when you look at it, Jim.
Well, the ball's at the asked for a measurement here.
And I was looking at the unofficial marker too. But I don't know if Mike Munchak, if he should have, he probably did, wanted the measurement to see if it is short, how much, and that will determine his decision.
About 2 feet. Ball at the 32.
Yeah, I think you go for it. And I agree. I would do it too. Is there anything that you've seen in this game to think that your defense is going to go out there and stop them?
Well, here's the thing, all right? Worst case scenario. You fail, and Denver on the short field scores a touchdown to go up 16. You're still down just 2 scores.
Good point.
You know? And when you're 5 and 7, and the season's on the line, and you need a spark, well, this would do it. If you could convert it here. 5 wide, Say spread it out on fourth.
Quarterback draw, maybe.
There you go. Great call, Phil, and it's a first down. Fitzpatrick.
Well, it's a great call because he told me last night.
Was that right?
Yeah, I said, you're going to, what? Because Fitzpatrick has been running and running well, but a good design. They got a different front that time, just 3 down linemen. They blocked it properly, and a good fake by Fitzpatrick, too.
Plus, just spreading it out, you could see they had enough separation. It was going to be just waiting long enough to find an open hole. First down at the 36. Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson's got 11. Subway postgame show coming up after the game with JP, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Cower. Scores and highlights, time permitting, on the Subway postgame show. All year long, the Titans have been in close games. And another one here, down 9 with 10.5 to play. Boy, the Broncos were ready for that one. Johnson stopped behind the line by Sylvester Williams.
How about that? The big rookie, Sylvester Williams. You need a chance to get a lot of extra reps. You know, you look at defensive linemen, and you come in the NFL, Jim, I've been told this many times by coaches, and even Bill Parcells had told me. Interior defensive linemen, rookies, really hard to come in and play it and have an impact. Because the linemen double teams, everything that you have to do, hard to learn your rookie year.
2nd and 11. Here comes the blitz. It's a screen. Johnson. Ball comes out. He lost the ball. And the Broncos have the recovery. Trying to make the move. Zigging and zagging. The football slipped out of his hands, and Mike Adams has the recovery.
Well, it's a tough play. Listen, this was set up. The defensive line, oh, they got it. They got blockers out in front.
Von Miller.
Yep, and Mitch Unrein, he's the initial guy that makes Johnson turn and bring it back.
Miller got a hand in there and stripped it.
That's what happened.
And Mike Adams, who had the 4th down knockdown last week in the end zone at Kansas City, has another significant play here today with the recovery. 2nd turnover today committed by the Titans. Up to 32. Manning, going for the payoff, and Julius Thomas was the target at the 5.
Von Miller, how about that? Redirecting and still able to get that left arm and hand out there to turn this game around and really give this Bronco offense a chance to almost close this game out.
Titans had 3 giveaways in the second half last week. They had 2 today in the second half. Second and 10. It's ball. And he reverses field. Takes a punishing blow by Michael Griffin that produces a flag. As ball had been set back 2 yards. I think they've got him maybe on a face mask call.
Personal foul, grabbing the opening of the face mask, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Boku reaching in on ball. And the Broncos have the ball at the 20 when we come back. Player down. We're back in Denver, and again, time permitting after the game, the Subway postgame show.
You know, I'm anxious to hear what the quarterbacks in the studio, all of them, what do they think about the cold weather? I know it's not a windy day, but Peyton Manning throwing the football today.
On first down, Peyton. He's got another touchdown pass to Eric Decker.
They learned something on the pass before. Julius Thomas going across the field. And again, you can see, yeah, he gets knocked to the ground, but space in front of him. How about that route? Post, corner, post. In the football, anticipation on the throw, right on the money.
Eric Decker a week ago was the first receiver in Manning's career who ever caught 4 of his passes for a touchdown in a game. He's got 2 more today, 6 in 2 weeks, 9 on the season. And Prater tacks on the PAT, so it's 44-28, set up by the fumble forced by Miller. And Peyton now, 373 and 4 touchdowns. Well, you know, Phil, I'd given Decker that touchdown from the first half that they took away. Remember that? So he only has one today. And what a beauty it was. Manning with 4 touchdown throws to 4 different receivers.
You know, this passing game of the Broncos, it is getting better. Because now it's about, let's get it down the field, let's make big plays. The screens we saw early in the year outside the receivers, we don't even see them now. It's power passing, that's what it is.
Doing this without Welker in the second half with that concussion, not returning. And Washington with the touchback.
Well, let me show you what to do. Outside technique, he's going to push. It's a post, corner, post. Tight end goes down the middle, and watch what happens. They play it perfectly, the Titans do. The technique, but they beat the defense and take advantage of the fact that the corner is going to be outside. The safety can't help, and the tight end goes down the middle, and I think they found out or decided to do that play from the previous play when he missed Thomas going across the field on the tight end.
Decker now 8 catches, 117, and the touchdown. That's incomplete to Kendall Wright. Ball hit the ground. You'll have plenty to talk about Wednesday night on Showtime inside the NFL. I mean, crazy games out there today. Minnesota, Baltimore, and that New England, Cleveland game, and others. All coming up with you, Chris, and JB inside the NFL Wednesday night Showtime. From behind, they've got him. And the sack belongs to Von Miller.
Yeah, this 3-down defensive look, it's a lot of times they blitz out of it. Obvious passing situation. You can't double team the best pass rusher. Nice little dip move by Von Miller. How about that? When they do that little stutter, then, hey, celebrate. Getting a sack in the NFL, these D linemen and pass rushers, they deserve to celebrate.
Did you ever do that after throwing a touchdown?
Oh, absolutely.
Dancing with the stars type stuff?
Well, I don't know if it was that good, but it's time to celebrate, especially when I threw a TD.
3rd and 17. And again under pressure. Fitzpatrick, there is a flag down in the offensive backfield. Trevathan was coming after Fitzpatrick on the rush.
Holding, offense, number 76. Penalty is declined, 4th down.
And when Von Miller gets going, sometimes the only way you can slow him down is to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a good one. Big Country took him down there, and he got beat with the speed move to the outside. What a change up by Von Miller.
So Brett Kern back out to punt. And again, he started his career here, punted for the Broncos for a little more than a year. Decker is the returner with Welker out. Decker up to the 50. And falls on the Tennessee side at the 48.
Dangerous catch that time.
38-yard punt, ball back in possession of the Broncos. NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee, built free. And by Subway. Get your own Big Hot Pastrami from Subway today. Subway, eat fresh.
60 Minutes is coming up next. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Jim Nantz and Bill Sims 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety following the game, except on the West Coast. Broncos up 16, 8 minutes to go. And that's ball for 8.
Well, they got the blocking tight end in now, Virgil Green. When I saw him come out there and move around, I said they're going to run behind number 85. He has been a terrific run blocker the last couple weeks.
Virgil Green out of Nevada, third-year man, where he caught passes from Colin Kaepernick. 2nd and 2.
About 8 or 10 guys on that team in the NFL, so Kaepernick being one of them.
And that's Denver slipping out of a tackle. Actually, it's Tammy, Jacob Tammy, with another catch, his 4th today.
Well, we heard many of the Titans say, you just can't pick a spot and say, we're going to take this guy away or anything like that, because there's just so many different ways they attack you and so many weapons.
Team record, first downs in a game, 36.
What did the New Orleans Saints have against the Cowboys that night?
Yeah, they had 35 just a few weeks ago.
No, I think it was more than that.
What was it?
40.
They have 40. And there's a hit by Griffin. And holds ball to a gain of only 1.
Well, you're in a situation, if you're the Titans defense, they tried to before this, but a field goal really makes it almost impossible for you to win. So you got to get up there and take a chance. They've been very conservative on the defensive side all day today. But now it's time to take a chance.
Peyton hustles over. Make sure the signals are straight. Tammy was the target that time. So next week, it's regional action on CBS. We'll be down in Miami for New England and the Dolphins. Miami winning at Pittsburgh today. Keep their playoff hopes going. New England again somehow manages to pull off the most improbable win against Cleveland. All starts with the NFL today. You look at all dressed up. There they are. 12 noon Eastern time.
That's 3 unbelievable wins this year. New Orleans, Denver, and today by the Patriots.
3rd and 9 from the 26. Peyton jump pass. Fighting for the first down, getting with 1 within a yard of the first was Joel Dreesen. Gain of 8. And it's 4th down coming up. Now, they're going to go for it here. A field goal would make it a 3-score game.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they're going to do this. I thought they would play the numbers, 3 scores game. But they've been very good running the football when it's short yardage.
Low snap. Somehow they got it to Moreno. Manning shaking his head. He knew that was a lot harder than it needed to be.
I'll tell you what saved him was those gloves. He's got fitted gloves on, and sometimes in situations like that, oh yeah, grabs it, still sticks it right into the belly of Moreno, and
a 37th first down. And we got a player down, and it's Foku, who was shaken up earlier in this quarter. Hey, look, we came on the air, we addressed it, the whole issue, everybody talking about can he throw, can he play in the cold? Peyton wasn't too concerned about it. He got asked about it a few times this week. He said it's not a factor, and that's not how I feel. But some of the games, he was 1-5 all time, under 30 degrees. One was to the Super Bowl champion Patriots long ago in the AFC title game. The game last year against Baltimore, double overtime. The game at New England a couple of weeks ago. Not like that was his fault, and that they really emphasized the ground that day.
Yeah, they did. They took him out of rhythm. I think they learned a lot in that game. I've said it quite a few times since then because we did the game last week in Kansas City. But even an established quarterback like Peyton Manning, who's never really played that type of game, Jim, where it's run, 3rd and 5, throw a pass, and he lost that rhythm. Also, his receivers did not get into the game, so it hurt them. I don't think we'll see him make that mistake again. And Peyton Manning told us, all that wind and cold, he came out of that game a little confident that he could deal with elements if it was like that again.
First down. Now he's got more attempts than any game in his career, and this one out of bounds, incomplete. Caught out of bounds by Virgil Green. Dayton's career high 58th attempt. Actually, it's Demaryius Thomas down there. Demaryius Thomas. He made the catch, but
oh, boy, is that close. Right foot just out of bounds.
But they go on and win this game if they do. What a gift this game is to go win a game in 15-degree weather, let's call it, because again, all you've been hearing about, oh, if they get to New York in the Super Bowl, it'll be cold. He can't play in cold weather games. And he's going to have 3 of them probably in the playoffs. Into the win it all. There's Moreno. McCarthy on him. Tackled at the 8. Going to have the divisional game here in January. That's not going to be some warm, balmy day.
Sure.
And you win that, then you're going to have the AFC Championship game in all likelihood here. You know, unless they stumble and maybe end up at New England where it could be cold again. And then if it's in fact in the cards and they're New York bound, well, here you go again.
Yeah, you know, I think the big thing is this week they were glad that they had some really frigid weather, and they went out and they threw the football around and they looked at the film and go, wow, this is pretty good stuff. So it gives everybody, the organization, the coaches, the players. I don't think Peyton Manning needed that reinforcement, but he got it.
3rd and 2. Shoestring catch for a first down by Moreno.
About that. You see them split these running backs outside, and they bring them underneath the coverage. Oh, that is a terrific job by Moreno.
Makes it 1st and goal at the 5. Coach Eric, you saw him hug right there. The one he shared the Ed Block Courage Award with, named this week. Ball is the running back. And his ball twisting in for the touchdown. He spun off the hit of Pollard, ran behind Orlando Franklin, and he's got a mile-high leap.
Well, it seems like Tennessee's defense has been on the field all day long. A number of plays and just so hard, trying to defend everything you're going to see. Fatigue sets in, not only physical, Jim, but mental too. Because it's got to be some grind mentally facing this Denver offense if you play defense.
Look at this. They have scored 50 points for the 3rd time this year. The first team since the '69 Vikings. Very good. Remember, this was 21-10 Tennessee late in the 2nd quarter. Since that time, it's 41-7. You know, Matt Prater got one of the biggest reactions, as he should have, when he, right before the half, made it from 64 yards. Oh, there's a great angle on it.
Is that great? Did he explode through that hit?
All-time longest field goal in league history. So what happens with the story now about cold weather games?
Well,
does this make it go away?
Oh, of course not. No, it does nothing. This does nothing. Oh, yeah, it was a good game, but, you know, it was against Tennessee. The wind wasn't blowing strong. But because we know the story, and it's, if it doesn't go all the way through to a Super Bowl win, that's going to be the headline. And that's, I'm not going to even say it's unfortunate. That's just where we are right now. You put this right there with the Tony Romo story. He can't win the big game. Well, that's always going to be there when they lose until he wins the Super Bowl. And Jim, you know that those are just the facts.
Well, it's just
and that's what you live with.
The compounding of stories, the layering. one person writes it, then the next guy goes and writes it like, hey, I got an original thought here. Then it gets layered again and again. It gets talked about on all the radio and television shows, pregame shows, and then, eventually people think that it's a pure fact that he can't throw in these conditions. Well, I'll give you 397 yards and 4 touchdowns today as Ian Nacho makes the tackle.
Well, let me just say it one more time. What are his numbers today? They're outstanding, right?
397, 4 touchdowns on 39 of 59.
He's been better than that.
Yeah, bunch of drops.
Bunch of drops, but he's been sharper than that. Even when he's thrown in completions and the guys are covered, the football's been in the right spot. So I think they found something. What they're doing on the offensive side, but also him resting his body. You don't have to take every rep. The fact that he set out of practice this Wednesday, that is, to me, the big deal. And I think we're seeing the results, how much better his performance is because of that.
Timeout called by the Broncos. We've got an update. James Brown has it in New York.
Nipped and tugged Jim Nance in San Fran.
All right, Seattle's kicker Steven Hauschka, he kicks a 31-yarder to give them the lead, 17-16.
And Jim, as you know, Seattle clinches the NFC West Division and a first-round bye with a win. Back to Jim Nance.
So, how about that back and forth with the Niners and the Seahawks? And, the way Arizona's playing, San Francisco's got to be careful. First and 10, draw play. Sean Green, gain of 8. He and Trevathan have a few words to exchange. We met with Trevathan this week, kid out of Kentucky.
Yep.
And a new father.
He has been so good of late and all year long for this Denver defense. I've said Trevathan plays as hard and as vicious as any linebacker in the NFL. It's almost like I go, how can you keep that pace up and be so physical like he's done so far this year? And he goes, man, I'm used to grinding. I go, what do you mean? Well, Kentucky, we were not very good, so every game was a fight, and he still plays that way.
First down, Fitzpatrick. Going for the deep ball. Hunter trying to grab it with one hand. And the next play will bring us to the 2-minute warning. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. And a Navy SEAL story of survival, followed by the season finale of The Amazing Race and The Mentalist, all new on America's #1 network. Well, the Titans had things going their way for the first quarter and a half, had an 11-point lead. And then the momentum switched big time. Catch by Hunter. And we've got the 2-minute warning. Denver on its way to clinching a playoff berth and then locking up a division for Indianapolis. Denver on its way to 11-2, staying in the top position in the conference. Back in action Thursday against San Diego. And the Colts, with Tennessee losing here, going to clinch the division, even though the Colts fell today to the Bengals. Baltimore maintains the 6th position at 7-6. They've got the head-to-head over Miami from earlier this year, but a lot to work out for that final playoff berth in the AFC. 3rd and 4, almost intercepted. I tell you, Rogers Cromartie was ready to run that one. Trevathan also had his eyes on a goal line. Nate Washington limping to the sideline, and John Fox is going to have a successful return to the sidelines here today.
Yeah, we had a little fun with him. The 4 games he set out, tough. All 4 games were tough, and I said, man, it had to be a lot harder sitting at home watching those games than it was being on the sideline. He said, absolutely. So when things weren't going well, he changed seats.
4th down play for Tennessee. Chris Harris on the blitz. Harris And actually, Fitzpatrick ended up handing the football off to Green at the last moment. Fitzpatrick spun right into the blitzer. And the Broncos will take over, and a couple of kneel downs, and it'll be over.
I like what John Fox did tell us. We were talking to him on Friday, and you were talking about everything that's going on. He goes, listen, this football team, he goes, this building has been on a mission since the day we lost to the Baltimore Ravens last year in the playoffs.
Well, he had to check into the Charlotte Hospital there for, of course, the whole thing that you see Del Rio took over for him, the surgery and all, and he had an alias. Johnny Drama is how he was checked in back in Charlotte.
Yes.
San Diego coming in Thursday, then at Houston, at Oakland. And they've, look, with New England right behind them, they've got to keep playing. You know, they might right to the very end, and it might be because of that, it'll give Peyton a chance to, as it works out, break the 50 touchdown record, because you still have to win to hold off the Patriots if they keep winning. This will be the 90th play, if you will, a kneel down for Denver today. That's a staggering number of plays, 90. And John Elway.
You know, you'll go back real quick. John Fox, just like a player, when you get hurt and you have to sit back and watch it, it is really tough. So a head coach, all the work that goes into organizing these football teams and getting it done, when he had to sit on those sidelines, I'm sure every week it got tougher and tougher. I'm glad he's back. Done a terrific job out here in Denver.
Yes, he's back with a win. A 51-28 victory. Denver over Tennessee. A game that featured monster numbers again by Manning, and the all-time longest field goal in the history of the league. The final score is Denver 51 and Tennessee 28. Tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes, followed by the season finale of The Amazing Race and The Mentalist. And Prater, he's going to be doing a few interviews after that history maker. For Phil Simms and all the crew, Jim Nantz saying so long from Denver. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.